Hello everybody. It's another beautiful day. The birds are blowing, the wind is chirping, and I feel like cooking something. Whoo-hoo! Let's do this. Hello everybody. I'm gonna make my version of tiramisu. Okay, what I'm making right here is the lady fingers. You need lady fingers for this. However, you can use vanilla wafers if you want. Make it easy on yourself. Use vanilla wafers. All right, anyway, this here is 4 egg whites, and it's getting beaten with 2 tablespoons of white sugar coming in somewhere down the line, I don't know where. But anyway, beat that up and put it on the side. The recipe for the ladyfingers is 4 egg whites, 4 egg yolks, 7/8 cup of all-purpose flour, and 2/3 cup of sugar. Now, I broke this recipe down from a very high number, so that's why it came out to 7/8 cup of flour. So anyway, now here's what you do. You whip the egg whites, add 2 tablespoons of the sugar to it. And whip it until stiff. Now, the egg yolks, whip them until they're light, and you're going to add the sugar in. Actually, this is like 2/3 cup of stevia and 1/3 the amount of sugar. That's 2/3 of a cup of sugar total. Okay, whip that in with the egg yolks. You want to put in like 1 little hit of vanilla, and like I said, 7/8 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. Oh, I'm sorry, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. You might be better off just using vanilla wafers. Now, what you're going to need, okay, first of all, the real tiramisu is made with ladyfingers, espresso coffee, amaretto, and mascarpone cheese. No, mascarpone cheese. I'm sorry, mascarpone cheese. That cheese is kind of like ricotta. It's very similar to ricotta, but it's real fine. It's real smooth. Ricotta kind of has, a little bit of grit in it. The mascarpone doesn't, and it's a little bit sweeter. Okay, and you sweeten it to your specification. Okay, but we're not using any mascarpone cheese. What we're going to use is yogurt and vanilla pudding. Okay, now here's the thing. If you add yogurt to vanilla pudding, it's going to be too thin. By the way, these are the ladyfingers. Okay, like I said, it's a lot easier just to buy the whatchamacallits, the vanilla wafers, and use them. Okay, anyway, if you add vanilla pudding and yogurt, it's going to be too thin. So you have to thicken it. Now, I use the gelatin sheets. I don't know if you've ever seen them or have ever used them, but they're very nice. I like them. There they are. There's 4 sheets right there. And what you can use plain gelatin also. You just have to figure out exactly how much you need. The gelatin sheets, this is them. They're kind of brittle, and and you have to let them bloom. Now what that means is you put them in cool water until they swell up a little bit. You'll see. I'll show you what they look like here in a minute. They're going to get soft. They're going to absorb some of the water. Once they've absorbed the water, then all you have to do is add them into something that's warm, and the warm item will dissolve the gelatin. And then once it cools again, then the gelatin will, you know, it'll gel and it'll help make your stuff thick. Now, like I said, you can use plain gelatin if you want, but I'm not really sure. I'm used to using the sheets, and I'm not really sure how much of the dried plain gelatin you would need. I don't know, but you treat that the same way. You put water, a little bit of water, let the dried gelatin swell up, and then add it to something warm, and it will dissolve. You know, it's better if you add it to something hot. That it's going to dissolve for sure there. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm whipping up some whipped cream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix vanilla pudding with the plain yogurt. Actually, it's vanilla yogurt. There, you see that? You see how they got all wilted? There. Now I'm just putting them in the warm pudding. They dissolve, and then once they cool, it's going to help. It's going to help the pudding gel. Okay, now wait a minute. Now I'm putting in vanilla pudding, vanilla flavored yogurt, and that whipped cream that I just whipped. Okay, that's going to be the filling for the tiramisu. Normally that filling would be mascarpone cheese and a little sugar and some whipped cream. That's what you would do if you were making real tiramisu. Oh, by the way, I also added a little bit of amaretto to the coffee. Oh, that's another thing you need, is a very strong cup of coffee. There, I added some stevia in there just to sweeten it up a bit. And this is pretty complicated dessert. now that I look at it, holy moly! Yeah, you're better off just buy the lady fingers. I mean the vanilla wafers. You know, I mean it's far from being tiramisu anyway, so you might as well just use vanilla wafers. All right, anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to dip the lady fingers or vanilla wafers, whichever one you're using, into the coffee. And then you put it on the bottom of the cup. You can put 2 layers of the lady... Oop, there went the amaretto. You could put 2 layers of the lady fingers. I just didn't have enough. I was making these individual, and I didn't have enough room in these cups, so I couldn't put 2 layers. Normally, that's what you would do if you were making this in a, in a 9x9 pan. That's what you would do, is you would put in another layer. But of course, you wouldn't be using the strawberries. So if I hadn't put strawberries in, I could have put another layer in of lady fingers. Okay, now I got the lady fingers in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pudding. This is just straight pudding. Nothing's added to it yet. I'm going to put that in to work as glue. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to line up the strawberries going around the cups. This way it looks kind of cool when you get everything in there. It looks good. Now, if you're making this in a 9x9, cake pan or something, you don't really have to do this because nobody's going to see the strawberries anyway. You could just lay them down flat, All right. Now, I had a couple extras, so I just put them in the center. Okay, now we're going to add in the whipped cream. I'm sorry, you can't really see it that well. There goes the whipped cream, and the yogurt is going into it. Okay, the gelatin is already in it. Now, it is warm because of the pudding. So, there's a little bit of stevia. There's very little sugar in this. Very little. Okay, there we go. Now we're just going to fill them up to the top with the filling. All right. Okay, on top you sprinkle a little bit of cocoa powder. It's coming up here in a second. This is really a really good dessert. And it's summertime, man. This is good in the summertime. There we go. A little cocoa powder. That's just regular cocoa. I have a very small strainer, very small screen there on this thing. Okay, look, you might be able to find this someplace else around town. I don't know. But I know one thing, you're not going to find it any better than this right here. See you later, I gotta go, I gotta eat.